Hey everyone, in this video I asked Chat GPT to build a Selenium framework from scratch. Secondly, I asked Chat GPT to write an explicit weight for the child element under shadow root. And thirdly, I asked Chat GPT to write a Python code to get the currency exchange rate between INR and pounds. Let's see how Chat GPT responds to all these three questions. At the end of the video, I'm going to share my feedback, my personal experience as well with ChatGPT. So first, let's ask ChatGPT to build a Selenium framework using Python and pytest as a framework. Let's see how ChatGPT responds to this question. So now I'm in the ChatGPT website. I have my own username and password set. If you want to have access to ChatGPT, go to chat.openai and you need to enter your mobile number. You need to verify the OTP and all so that you would get access to it. So this is the home page and these are some of the questions which I tried before. And now I'm going to ask ChatGPT to build Selenium Python framework using pytest. So let's hit enter and see what ChatGPT says. As you can see, it gives us a detailed explanation, the step-by-step details from where to start. So like install Selenium and pytest by running the following command. So create a new directory for your project, create a new file for contest.py, and then in contest.py import the necessary libraries, because as you know, all the necessary libraries are in the contest.py. Run your test, how to run the test, sample demo, pytest-k test. So this is the basic outline that pytest and Python combined framework that the ChatGPT generated. As you can see, this is not a complete pack. This is not like spoon-fed for me to consume this content, just copy paste it and your job would be done. But instead, what ChatGPT can be used, it narrates the highlights of what are all that you need to do. I'm going to show you one more similar question which I asked ChatGPT to build Selenium Python framework. This is something also I asked. To this, I was surprised to see how much this ChatGPT can generate the data. As you can see, to build a Selenium framework in Python, you need to install Selenium using pip by running. This one seemed to me like a spoon-fed, right? For a new person who's trying a different framework, this is like a spoon-fed. So you don't have to go through many articles. And if you copy paste this in your PyCharm and if you run it, it would definitely pick up this code and it would definitely run if given you have installed the Selenium app by following these steps. You can see to build a framework, you can create classes and methods that encapsulate common functionalities and can be reused across different test cases. Yes, what it really tells us is use the object-oriented programming to travel between one file to another file. For example, travel between your step definition to the page objects from the feature files. So all those integrations, what it tells us. So it also tells us you can also use page object model design pattern to organize your test. So here is the sample code that this has generated for us. What I have learned in this question is that it's not going to completely give you hand over everything that you ask for, but it's definitely time saver, because if I want to get all this information straightforward, I have to spend maybe some hours, or I could say some minutes by using this. The next question is one such question where I saved my time by avoiding going through Stack Overflow and other places. Let's go back to the question. So the question I asked ChatGPT is to write explicit weights for the child element under shadow root. And I did not get a straight answer in the Stack Overflow and all, but this one, as you can see, it generated a very straight answer. You don't have to go anywhere else. Let's talk about this code that it has generated. If you're a Selenium person, you might know shadow roots are stored here. As you can see, this is the parent shadow root, and the task is to wait for one of the web element within that shadow root. It's like a frames, right? Once you get into the frame, you have different web elements within that frame. So the task here is how to wait for the child element. So not to wait for the child element, you replace the driver with shadow root here. Okay, instead of driver.find element, you find the element within that shadow root. So you replace that driver, which is the whole web page, with that particular shadow root, and then you find that particular child element. So you store that in a child element, and in order to wait for that child element, so normally we do explicit wait for drivers, right? So instead of that, replace driver with shadow root here, mention the shadow here, and 10 seconds, and wait until visible of child element. So this really helped me to save my time to find the answer for this question. This is really great that ChatGPT helped me in finding this. And thirdly, the third question was write Python code to get the exact currency exchange rate. So write the Python code to get the currency exchange rate between INR and pounds. It suggests me to use the request library, which is an API call, and I need to have the API ID, and I need to have an account with Open Exchange website. Maybe it's a free account, and so it's very straightforward. So data equal to request.get. You need to replace your so it even tells me what I need to do. You need to replace your key with the variable here, right? You can also use other third-party APIs such as fixer.io. So this is fixer.io. So it didn't give me just one website to rely on. So it gives me multiple options to stick around with to get an idea about how to get the the exchange rate between the two currencies. So why don't we try this code? Why don't I try what Chat GPT have suggested me? Let me go to exchangerate.org. Yeah, let me hit enter, and why don't I sign up and get the API? Okay, this is the free plan, the forever free plan. And now what I need an API key. So to integrations, I'm going to go here, and there you go, that's my API key. And now let's open PyCharm and see if once PyCharm opens, I'm going to create a new, let's say close, I'm going to create a new project, and this one is INR to GBP. So let's create it. Let's look at this window, and over here I'm going to paste the API key, and let me go back to the code here. Let's copy code, jump back to the PyCharm, install the package 0 = 1, and now let's run the program, and that's 100.92. Between INR to GBP, it gives me 100. Let's go to Google and see what's the exchange rate over there. GBP to INR, 100.92. And that's very accurate. That's all my experience with ChatGPT, and I personally feel like this is not definitely going to replace our technical work, but it would definitely will save our time in terms of the productivity, because even though it generates a code, unless you are a technical person or anything that you do with the coding, you would not know whether what it says is right or not unless you have an experience. So it really saves time in terms of searching in the Google. If we are not satisfied with the answer that the ChatGPT produced, we still have to go to the Stack Overflow, because it has a massive database, different solutions. However, this one definitely saves our time. Try ChatGPT. I even asked some personal questions like investment advice and index fund investments, whether to invest in land or stocks. Experiment by yourself and see in what ways you can save your time using ChatGPT. Thanks for watching this video. Let's catch up in the next one.